And we're live. Welcome once again to the green room. Looks like we have a little bit of a delay on the feed.
That's all.
It's your boy Focus, and this is BellaBellz, the one and only.
What's good? Happy Thursday. Welcome to the green room. It's kind of like the trap house for me. Where I come here and I learn and I observe everything
It's
that's
like,
been
wait a minute,
cooking
the trap
in the
house.
town, you know? For real, because people are like, hey, ask this question, ask that question. They're learning too. Like I'm learning.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, like right now I'm feeling like I got the inside scoop. I'm in the end, you know? That's how I'm feeling this Thursday.
Nice. How was your week?
Oh, my week was awesome. Sunny days.
Yes, it was beautiful out.
So
I hope everybody got to enjoy the weather. Excuse me for fiddling with my phone. We had to make sure that the streams were going good.
Yes.
Anything exciting happened this week for you?
I know you got some exciting stuff. Don't be trying to get my juice. You know what I'm here to do. I'm trying to get the juice.
We actually just locked in a new location for a short film that we're going to get started shooting as soon as the weather turns nice.
Something about basketball court or something, or no?
No.
That's the other thing. Okay.
That's the whole other team.
Okay.
That's not even one
So
of my
what are
films.
we do? Okay.
This one's going to be tentatively going to be called No Good Deed. That's right.
Okay.
We just came up with that the other night.
Interesting.
It's a little bit of action, a little bit of drama. It should be a good flick. But we also, for the people that tune in for Urban Solutions other shows, our guy Jam from Monday Night Show with Jam and Diane, the Dirt is the name of that show. He's gonna be making his acting debut in a short film that we're just about finished shooting. We're getting ready to do some reshoots and a couple of added scenes that we just worked out for the film Reflection. You've probably seen the poster art on my page, and we're really excited about that. The lead in that is Raymond Power. He's going to be on the show, I think early next month.
Dude, Jam, you're not slick. You're just gonna sneak over to Vegas, get over there, shoot a film, come back. Like, is he even back? He's not even back. He's still shooting.
No, he's back now.
He's back now. Okay.
We're actually going to shoot those extra scenes on Tuesday.
Yeah, he said he's busy. He's busy.
Yeah. And he's also going to have some music featured in several of my films.
Yay.
And I got blessed today with a new song that isn't even out yet.
Okay.
And at the end of the show, stay tuned for the end of the show. When we roll the ending credits, we're going to actually debut that song. So stay tuned.
So Jam got a new song that you heard. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. And he gave me permission to play it at the end of the show.
Oh, okay.
So
I'm happy for you and I'm mad at you. So peanut butter jelly, you know what that means.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, we got a great guest today.
Yes, we do. We have Nut. I don't want to slaughter your last name. Suwanchote?
Yeah.
Okay.
Suwanchote. You gotta say it with finesse.
Oh,
He is a director and actor.
yeah.
Among other things, I'm sure.
Among other things.
Yes.
I'd like to say that I think I'm more of the cinematographer.
Okay.
And then the editor, and then I'm trying to do acting more often now.
Okay.
But the directing part, I've jumped into it here and there, but it's definitely a whole different monster, you know.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes. For sure.
It's a scary process, but yeah.
Okay, well, talk to me. It's a different kind of monster.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll get to the monsters because that's my favorite part to go to.
Cool.
I'm like that. But your favorite parts about it, like, let me know about acting that's exciting, that's different from what you normally do.
Oh, I can tell you. Okay, so like I grew up being kind of a shy kid. Having a name like that, I got made fun of a lot. So like that plays on like being an actor pretty hard because like most of the time I'm not that character, so I have to be able to get out of my comfort zone to play that character. And being that I'm kind of a young man still, and I just got into acting, it's really hard, really, to like change my persona to be able to fit this character that I want to be.
Yeah.
Because I don't have any formal acting I didn't take any formal acting classes or any formal like filmmaking classes, but I was taught through my brothers who are really like good at it, and so like the acting part's really new, and so like that's like one of the bigger challenges I'm going through right now, is trying to like understand how acting works and like how to like, you know, use these different skills that you acquire through classes or through daily life to just be that character or take a part of that character and apply it to yourself.
So give me like 3, you know, since you knew it, that's what I'm saying. This is a checklist.
Yeah.
You're learning everything, and you're gonna take this information and flip it and be successful.
That's why I
So
love
the 3
having you as a co-host, because
don't be
given,
snitching on me.
no, I'm saying, given that we do similar work,
Mm-hmm.
you think to ask questions that I might not think, because I already might know
Second
the
nature.
answer.
Mm-hmm.
So that's part of the reason why I love having you on here, because you don't know all the answers already.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I do, but
Lies. I
you-
know all the
you
answers.
definitely will come up with other questions that I would.
That's why we don't ask him then, but I'm asking him. What are you lying on me? Okay, so like, no, seriously, since you're starting off learning, and so it's the beginning stages, 3 tips that you would give somebody that's starting off, a new actor. Not necessarily that you, because I feel like you even got a little boost because you've in the business a little bit.
Yeah.
So you kind of, you know, fiddle with other things, you know, like with this acting thing, now you're learning about it, and so it's fresh and it's brand new, but you've, you know, mastered these other things as well. So you've kind of got the upper hand, but these new people that have never done it, like the 3 top things that you believe are really important when you're starting off.
I'd say, you know, one of the biggest things is, you know, being that I just turned 25 and I like to get that like a quarter life crisis, is to just go out and do it, because you don't know when your last day is, you know. And a philosophical thing is that if you want to do something, you know, if you're uncomfortable or you're afraid, run towards it and just do it, because if you don't, you're kind of going to be in the same boat that you are now, and you can only think about doing it, you know. Hey, you know what, I've always wanted to be an actor, maybe one day.
Yeah.
Today can be that day, you know.
Mhm.
And it's simple as, you know, it's big technology nowadays. You just get on Facebook, find a group, and be like, hey, I don't have a lot of experience. I'd like to be a PA, or I'd like to be an extra, and just observe and absorb like that, the surrounding and like the information there. So I think the thing about it is just do it. You know. The other thing is work on yourself. You know, take classes. You know, and not all classes are the same level. You know, not the best teachers, but I think as long as you're taking something that helps you learn, you're making progress. Like, I take this class in Seattle, and it's not like the most expensive class, but it's definitely some stuff that I didn't learn like by myself.
Yeah.
So all these things I can learn, like maybe not the best, or maybe not the most expensive, or you know, whatever, is more than just, I think, trying to figure it out yourself.
Yeah.
Right.
And so like, I think what's an interesting thing is when I was doing powerlifting through college, I had to learn through like form and like lifting heavy and like the programming myself with my brother, but now I can help others easier because I have that knowledge to like pass on, and similar to like taking classes, you have knowledge to pass on. And I think you know, not all knowledge is correct knowledge, but you can take what you want and apply it to you. You know, everyone's everyone's different, and you can personalize it to the character you want to be.
Yeah.
And then I think the other thing about it, I was gonna say, I think it's just have fun.
Okay.
Just really, you know, I think that's the thing I forget too, is just to have fun. And,
Yeah.
it becomes like being like a cinematographer is part of it. I'm always like, it has to look a certain way. It has to like, and it's all this perfection, like getting that shot to be perfect. But in reality, you know, sometimes you just have to have fun with it and enjoy the process. And you know, you fail, and I think the fun part of failing is that you don't technically fail because you grow.
Absolutely.
And so,
absolutely. I'm a firm believer of there is no failure as long as you learn something from it.
Yes.
Every lesson can be a lesson.
Yeah.
So okay. So what I got out of it is, I'm gonna definitely have fun. You know, the things that you're doing, definitely have to have fun in it. I hear that a lot.
Otherwise, why are you doing it?
Why are you doing it, right?
Yeah.
If it's
The money.
This is not a get rich quick thing. Trust me.
And you know, like being like 25, I read a lot of like inspirational quotes and all this and that. That's like, there are these rich people that work their whole lives, and then they're like, money doesn't pay for everything. Money didn't make me happy, and you know.
Yes.
And being at that, I'm not 50 or whatever. I don't want to be in that position where I'm like, oh yeah, I got all the money, I don't have to worry about it. But time is something you don't get back, right?
Exactly.
Time is something you don't get back. Money you can get back, so I'm like, all right, might as well be happy and do the things I want. Money comes along, it should come along, and so.
And it
Yeah.
will.
And it will, it
Right.
just takes time, right?
Right.
Yeah.
That's the thing, time.
Absolutely.
If you gotta eat, you're gonna get money.
You're gonna get money, you're gonna find a way, you're gonna find
Right,
it.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
Okay, so also you're saying joining groups is really important,
Oh.
surrounding yourself, because when people say they started from the bottom, but it doesn't necessarily mean be by yourself,
Mhm.
grind by yourself, put yourself in surroundings, and then you said pretty much shadow and
Yeah.
follow other people that are already doing it.
Mhm.
Basically humble yourself and be able to learn off of others as
Yeah.
well, and not necessarily all the information is going to be good,
Yep.
but take what you need from it, and then pretty much and go from there. Basically own it. For me, it's like a recipe.
Mhm.
Like I'll read it and I'll Google it or YouTube it, but then I'll add some stuff to it. Then it becomes
Tweak it,
my
make
own.
it your own.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, it's my.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So with acting, I wanted to ask you this question, but I wanted to save it. Like why get the answer already? Because I really want to know like for the first time.
Mhm.
So with acting, when you're given the script, right? Is that normally when you're given the script? Is it something that you have to build the character on your own and make it up as you go? Or do they tell you, hey, I want you to act this way and that way. I need this character to be sassy. I need this character to be a little, inkster. Do you get to pick what kind of swagger?
So I think the interesting thing about starting as acting. I
Uh-huh.
don't know the answer to that. And
Okay.
that's the real thing is I don't know. But
Okay.
from what I've learned is you can do it whatever approach you want.
Okay.
And the interesting thing, and I've heard, and I don't know whether it's right, but it's always interesting to hear about it, is
Uh-huh.
make yourself different, right? So if
Mhm.
the character is like maybe a sad character, maybe make yourself a little sassy sad,
Okay.
And then
Mhm.
the director or casting
Ooh.
director might be like, I like the way this guy did it this way, this girl did this approach, it's different from the rest of the people who are.
The language, the way it's written, even how
Yeah.
you took it, you went and
Yeah.
made it.
You made it your own, right?
Right.
And so you make it your own, and then the casting director's like, wow, I like that. It might not be correct, but I like that, and if I have a role for him in the future, I know this is the person I could contact.
Yeah.
Oh,
So you're making
As-
connections,
and
as-
advertising your other sides,
skills, yeah.
Yeah.
skills, exactly.
As I 100% agree with what he's saying as far as auditioning.
Okay, audition.
As far as the actual role in
Uh-huh.
a specific film, a specific role in the
Uh-huh.
film, a lot of it depends on the director's vision for that character.
Mm,
Because you could come in and play the sassy, upset, heartbroken girl,
yeah.
but that's not what the director's looking for this film.
Oh.
And like he was saying, the casting director may see you in another film because of what you did, so it may bring about other work.
Right.
But you kind of need to be flexible enough and be able to
Adjust.
learn from exactly okay, this is the way I would do it.
Right.
And hopefully you get lucky enough to have a director that's open to input like that.
Okay.
And that really makes a good, cohesive, and,
Relationship.
in my opinion, a better movie.
Right.
But unfortunately,
Because
everybody's
you
different.
spend so much time together, it makes sense
Yeah,
to mesh like that.
exactly.
That give and take,
But at the end of the day, it's really
you the boss man.
the director is the one that makes the call.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, no, I need you more sad. I need you a little more sassy, or
Yeah.
whatever that may be.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah. So, I like that.
Yeah, I think I've been talking different life philosophies with my friends, and it's like one specific one is life happens for you, not to you.
Ooh.
And so
Your
if you
game
don't
up.
get this role,
Uh-huh.
then you know what, maybe it's trying to teach you something about it,
Yeah.
But you also maybe made a connection,
Mhm.
And so for me as being an actor auditioning, I'm still scared. I'm really so scared. I don't think I can actually. And that's the honest truth is I'm not that good at auditioning yet.
Mhm.
But that's the thing. You go and you do it, and then you learn about it, and then you're like, okay, it's fun. It's okay to feel this way. It's okay.
Yeah.
So it's a learning process, and that's great. And maybe I won't get the biggest role I want yet, and maybe that because life happens for me to be like, hey, you need to get these auditions right and keep going until
yeah.
till you understand it's okay.
Okay, okay. So now, I guess what I kind of wanted to ask you is, did you always live in Washington?
Yeah, so actually I was born in Thailand, and then like a year later I came here. So I'm pretty much
All
a
but 1 year.
banana.
Okay.
A banana, I'd say.
So now that you're following your career,
Mhm.
does your career kind of guide you in a way where you have to leave Washington
Oh.
to make it, or is it something you can do here?
So being on the filmmaker side, I think this is where it's very crucial that
Yeah,
you need to
technically.
understand that
Okay.
in Washington,
Mm-hmm.
you don't get a lot of big movies, whatever. You don't get a lot of movies because one, our incentive doesn't apply to movies, and number
okay.
two,
Just like we were talking about last week,
Yes.
there's no incentives, there's no tax breaks and things like that
Yep.
here in Washington. That's why the big movies rarely come here.
Okay.
they'll go to Portland and they'll shoot like shows, whatever, in Portland, but not here or Vancouver. It's because here, I think, if I talk correctly with my friends, it's all about the tech industry. You got Amazon, you got like T-Mobile, you got
Yeah.
Microsoft, and they
It's
take a
tech town.
huge, they bring a lot of people, and
Yeah.
it's not like it doesn't help our film industry. So
Wait, time, don't, why not?
Uh,
I would think it would, it goes together, no?
no, because
Techie and film and,
No, because we're
Okay.
talking like different tech, and like
Okay.
you're having people who are more, I think science do the jobs. If you had like an incentive to pay for people who do movies,
Okay.
and that's not like writing code, then you'd have more people who
Got
were more
you.
creative to be able to be like, oh, I want to write and sell
Okay.
it
Yeah,
here.
it's more
right, on a technical, literally,
technical side
got you.
versus the creative side.
Okay, as far as, when you techie, I would think of technology opposed to,
Yeah.
got you, totally understand.
No, but even then, the technology here, if I'm correct, isn't the same technology you'd be considering in cameras. We're talking like
Yeah.
maybe security or just
Yeah.
like user interface, but
Mhm.
like
Programs.
programs, but
Mhm,
like
exactly.
how many of those are actually applied to like cameras or phones or like editing programs?
Yeah.
Right.
Where the industry thrives is where you'll find those like developments because people need it there.
Right.
Mhm.
So, since it could lead you
Of course.
elsewhere, where were
Um,
you thinking? A
So
little sneak peek.
yeah, of course.
Okay.
A big thing
You're
is
following him around.
a big thing I think is you guys have heard of Crazy Rich Asians?
Yes. I
There's a
love that
huge
movie.
At first, I'm not gonna lie, I was like, why is everyone gonna watch this? It's alright. It's like
Yeah, I didn't
It's
get what it was
alright.
really about until I was like, everybody's talking about it. Let me sit down and watch it.
let me
And
sit
then-
down.
And then I was like, this is hilarious.
This
and,
is
and it's real. Like
It's
I
real.
really know. Like I grew up in Washington, so there's a big Asian community, and I grew up in school, going to their house, and I know how it is. And so like that's really close. They're not joking.
no, and then like
But they are. It's
Yeah.
a
but
funny movie.
It's a satire, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you look at like UW Seattle, like there's a bunch of Asian people
Mhm.
who are across the, and they have money too, and then you can
Yeah.
kind of like see
Yeah.
these like different like tropes that are carried into movies that are
Mhm.
actually in real life.
Mm-hmm.
And so with Crazy Rich Asians and then like Farewell and Aquafina
Mhm.
winning her award, it really plays a lot on like that Asian wave. So I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm gonna ride that Asian wave because
Yeah.
Might as well.
might as well
Sure.
because I don't think any time in history in the film history there has
Okay.
ever been such a rise in
Okay.
Yeah.
Asian people, and so I
Is
think,
that wave in California or overseas? Where's the wave happening?
I think it's big of a
Obvious.
huge section is in the country, but
Uh-huh.
like I think the thing about California is it's super saturated with Asian people, so
Okay.
you're like you're gonna have to really compete hard there.
Okay.
Yeah.
But Atlanta
There you go.
is a potential, and so that's
That's the
like
new Hollywood, they
Yeah.
said.
that's yeah,
Yeah.
and so like
Because they want to do what
I
the
know,
big dogs are doing.
I know. They're
but
doing it,
they,
though.
they don't have all the same people.
Mhm.
yeah, and
Yeah.
so like everything on a scale is a little cheaper
Mm-hmm.
and
Cost efficient.
cost efficient, yeah, and Netflix shoots their things there, like Stranger
Yes.
Things is shot there, so
Yes.
like it would just be. My brother said this analogy where it's like if you are a brain surgeon in like Kentucky,
Mm-hmm.
you're not really gonna get too many like surgeries there.
Recognition, yeah.
Yeah, recognitions, But if you're a brain surgeon like in New York, where it's like, people have money to pay for and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
That's when you can thrive, And so it's like same thing with like acting. I think is you need to go to the place you need to be able to thrive. I mean, here you can thrive on
Mhm.
commercials and corporate videos.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah. I got a Amazon audition for you. Oh, great, but it's only internal, right? No one's
Yeah.
gonna see you.
Yeah.
Only the workers are gonna see you,
Mm-hmm.
and so that doesn't help you if you're trying to get big, yeah, and just being in Atlanta, I think is it's like just writing your name down on the SAT. You're
Yeah.
there,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So it's like that's the way I
It's a
think
good
about it.
start.
Yeah, that's gonna be an amazing move for you.
Oh, I
Yeah.
mean, I'm scared, and I know I'm not there as an actor that I want to be yet, but that's the process.
Yes.
But aside from that, I know my filmmaking skills is what I can do in the meantime. You know,
Yeah.
I can shoot something and set something up, and then make connections there. And say I'm in Atlanta, and someone's like, "Hey, I got a short story." I feel like I could pull these people to make a crew. There's a percent, and then I can help them shoot that, or I can help them be in it.
Yeah.
All these things just by making connections that you understand how filmmaking works.
Speaking of filmmaking, you have a mini series.
Oh yes. So
that you're getting ready. Okay.
So Empower, my brother's
Empower.
Video Productions.
Okay, Empower. That's the one.
And so it's his little video.
Thought we were gonna have some beef with 50 Cent. I was like, oh, don't make a show called Empower.
Oh, I mean,
Again.
I think we're in the process of getting some interns because I think it's a small group. It's just like 5 or 6 of us that are the core members, and we aren't all well in different areas. So we don't have a lot of writers. We're not. Some of us aren't good at writing. Some of us are good at editing and filming.
Yeah.
Filming, and in that case, since we're good at filmmaking and editing, then if I'm filming and my brother does second camera or whatever, we don't ever get the chance to be in front of the camera, right? And so by having these interns who want to learn and do whatever, we can have them write the story, we can help them shoot it, and they can get in a way a hands-on experience of getting in the industry. I mean, it's not don't get me wrong, it's not the professional way, but I think with anything, you want to get your feet wet and understand, hey, this is a camera. You as a cinematographer, you want to consider lighting, you want to consider your angles and understand what they mean.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And so we're not fully done with the whole short web series, but it's essentially I think we're all leaving after college, so we're all roommates.
Okay.
And then after I think 12 episodes, we're moving away, which is kind of reality,
Yeah.
But only in the story we're moving away.
Yeah.
But until then, each of our characters live together, have our own arcs, and we're trying to figure out who we are and how these arcs develop us. And I think one of them, don't quote me on it, might be a guy who tries to make money any way he can for his mom. Some of them might be not the most morally correct, or some of them might just be dirty jobs, but at the end of it, he finds out that he's valued more than he should be doing, and that he understands where he stands and stuff like that.
Okay.
And so instead of just taking a job and be I just need the money for the sake of money,
Right.
he's you know what? I have some value and I have these skills, and let me apply these skills, And just, these are just ideas that we're applying to the character, and so that's the goal.
That's really cool.
And then,
Wait, and is this co-ed? The group?
what do you mean?
The group that's the group of people.
Is it co-ed?
Yeah.
No, not exactly, because we don't have, our group has girls in it, but the problem is they're busy doing their thing too, and so this has become more kind of something we want to do together, but we'd be open to have them. It's just one of them goes to school, and then one of them has a photography and trying to do her own filmmaking, and so we understand everyone's busy and everyone has their own life, and so I'm not
Still
but-
time.
time, yeah.
You gotta watch.
She's over here secretly hoping that you might have an opening for a female role.
I mean, we can always do guest appearances. I think that's what's great. Guest appearances, I think that's great. And so I think you know the show New Girls?
Yeah.
It's kind of like New Girls, or you think of that revolves around these roommates, and there's guest appearances and guest interactions, and we can always do that because we want to have people join us, but at the same time, I know not everyone gets the chance to be in front of the screen, and so what other way then is to make a connection and be hey, you know what? I think proactivity is great. Hey, I noticed you're making this. Could you have me in a role or two? So you just,
Yeah. Do you have an estimated ETA when it might start coming out?
I think we're gonna start right after in April,
Okay.
because in the month of March, I'm actually trying to do this really short film. It's an iPhone or mobile phone like film competition. So if you ever heard of the brand Moment, like Moment Lens, Moment,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so they're holding their own like international film festival thing, and so the category is like 3-minute or 15-minute, and then they divide into like narratives, music.
Is this
video.
the one that you and I had talked about
Yeah,
using my
yeah.
studio for?
Yeah, and so like I was actually gonna touch up about this, and being the director and the whole idea around it, it's actually really hard because I'm trying to make a suit for it, and then I'm trying to build the set, but I don't have money for the set, so I'm in my friend's Ford 150, and I'm like, wow, this passenger side looks actually pretty structured really well, so I'm trying to cut cardboards out to just plop it to save as much money as I can.
Yeah.
And it is something that's really hard right now. Like, to just see it, to make it happen, and I'm not gonna lie, I doubt myself sometimes, but that's like.
Yeah, me too. I think that's one of the most difficult things about filmmaking is to get what's in here onto the camera. Because once you get the basic gist of the vision in camera, then the rest of it is just, piecing it together and maybe a little tweaking here and there, but that's the hardest part. For me anyway, because I see the whole thing in my head.
Yeah.
But figuring out how to make that translate onto a camera, that's a little more difficult.
Once you get the ball rolling, the ball does roll, but like you have to have every part of that puzzle put together. And right now I'm like trying to build a set, I'm trying to build a costume, I'm trying to like. It's like there's probably no script to this, just because if it is 3 minutes, it's kind of all a visual experience. And I really, like I said, I suck at story writing, so I'm like, I'm just gonna make this to where I'm strong at is visuals. So
Yeah.
But so that's March, and then at the end of March, I think we're gonna go right into our little web series. We're just having writers help write that out, and so with these interns we're gonna bring on, and we're gonna see how they interact with the group. And
Right on.
but yeah, I would love to use your place. It's just at the same time, I'm like, it's hard to be so many places at once,
Yes.
Absolutely.
The set, the props, the actors, the writing, the camera, and like when you're mainly one, not all, everything's so foreign to you. Yeah, like being a cinematographer, editor, director, I can easily like understand that better than like, oh, how will my set have to look? And now I'm trying to build this spaceship set on the inside. But where do I start? What do I use? And so like I'm looking on YouTube, and there's this dude, and he made his own spaceship out of just recycled stuff.
Oh yeah.
And then he's like, you just grab some stuff, you put it on, you make it look like it's all fancy, and you spray it black, maybe weather it a bit, and it looks fine. I'm like, I'm gonna take inspiration from that. And
Of course, yeah.
I make myself a nuisance in the practical effects group on Facebook. I'm always asking questions that they've already answered like a year ago. But luckily, most of the people in that group are extremely friendly, and they're happy to help new folks learn how to do. Because, of course, VFX guys and practical effects guys and gals, both of them, they're like, everything needs to be done practically, or everything needs to be done VFX. So anytime you're asking one of those two groups a question, they're like, oh, absolutely, there's a way to do it this way. You ask the practical effects group, oh no, you should do it practically. This is how you should do it.
There's definitely pros and cons, you know, like I think practical effects on the budget can be great, if you need some explosion, dry ice and water in a bottle. But then when you're like, I need like spaceship or something digitally removed, you can't just digitally, or fly, you can't just literally just, hey, I need to rent a crane to be in a suit, that's like expensive. So that's when it's great to just be right here and just like make it work. And but then again, like I think special effects and thing for quality is super expensive, to make it work very well, because I've read a bit about it, but it's like there's like a lot of rotoscoping it, and then like a lot of layers, just like if you're ever on Photoshop, you have to like layer stuff. You can't just edit all in one, because then once you make a mistake, you're pretty much screwed with one layer. So like, all of it is a whole like monster itself.
Yeah, and
Right.
sometimes
But
it's
go ahead.
sometimes it's even not even necessarily the budgeting thing, but it can be a safety thing too.
Oh yes.
Like for example, I have a music video shoot coming up this next weekend actually, and the initial concept I wanted to get the artist and the girl riding my motorcycle through town. We wanted to see the scenery going by them and everything. Number one, he doesn't know how to ride a motorcycle.
Okay.
So it's not like we could just mount a camera and let him go. So we were looking at all these different options, like mounting the bike to a trailer, a safety rig and all that. And by the time you take into account everything to keep everybody as safe as possible, it was not only way cheaper, but way easier to just bring the bike down to the studio, put it on a green screen, and then cruise through town with the cameras out the window to get the background, and play with the lights on set when we're doing the green screen and everything, so it looks like he's really moving, and be kind of funner too.
Is that the part where you were saying unsafe? The part that he doesn't know how to drive the motorcycle, or
well, not only
or the actual
from him not being able to actually ride the motorcycle, but in order to really do it safely and legally, we would have to have like police escorts
permits and all
and this special safety trailer that has rails around it and everything for the crew and everything. Bike has to be strapped down. They have
so
to be
it's really
strapped
not
down.
moving. Okay, got you. It's pretend.
Yeah.
It's definitely not on budget friendly. Like
Right.
Now, if we were doing a big movie and we had a huge budget, that'd be a different story. But when we're doing a rapper's budget from Seattle,
it's a whole different story.
yeah.
So then I have a question. Then, what kind of budget do you need? A naked girl, a bathtub, and a fire in the studio.
Depends on what we're shooting that for.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if we're talking like some dramatic scene that an actress wants to, great. She might just do it for free.
Yeah, she was like, "Can I put a bathtub in here?" And it was cool.
What? I actually shot a scene like that.
Yeah.
Actually, exactly like you were talking about.
Okay.
There was a fire in the background. We had candles in the foreground. I had I can't think of the name of the equipment now, but a slider. I had a slider for my camera, and we were going across in front of the candles. The candles were out of focus. You could see her in the bubble bath behind.
Okay.
Strategic bubbles and everything, so it was tasteful. And then we wound up never using the shot. So, but it turned out beautifully.
Right.
But it's just funny that you brought that up, and it's actually a scene that I've shot before.
I know. Well, there was a conversation about it, so that's why I brought it up. I was like, don't be talking about motorcycles. Let's get to the real.
The real juicy.
Right.
There you go.
The dangerous, dangerous, right? Fire.
But I think going on that real quick is that I think most actors are up for a lot. That gets them to be in front of camera as long as it's like relatively like safe and like realistic. Like laying in the bubble scene, it's pretty realistic. You'd be like, hey, this character needs to be this. Would you be comfortable with it? And the character's literally like, yeah, it's not.
Yeah.
But like if we're talking like, yeah, get up, naked and like start dancing, that's a whole different story.
Yeah, yeah.
Kind of becomes like within reason.
Not that porno.
Yeah, so I was just literally thinking that. I was like,
That's a whole different kind of budget.
Look at me like
Black House audition and it.
Get off talking about it.
And jokes were made.
And then now he's talking about it. Naked people.
Well,
You brought up the naked people.
Not me.
Maybe
You right? Oh my goodness. Rewind.
yeah.
When did you actually get started in doing film?
So this is, I think this is a great question because I actually got started doing weddings,
Oh, okay.
and so I think that's where the cinematography eye comes from, because when you're doing weddings, you're doing it in real time. You can't be like, oh, excuse me, bridegroom, can we?
Yeah.
When I walk down that hall, walk down again, and everyone's watching it,
And
No,
pose for me.
You've
and
already
hold
made it up to the minister, but can we start that
Yeah,
over?
can we? Someone was in the way. You didn't smile, babe, so you can't do that.
Yeah.
So that really puts you on the spot of like, oh shoot, I need to be creative to be able to fix this.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then at the same time, you have to be like, okay, this shot doesn't look good. How do I make it look good? And then enact it really quick, because sometimes you have one camera like this, just directly down the middle, which is fine. You know, that's the most I think generic package people get. But then when you have different cameras, you want to go left and right, looking at their emotions. And if someone like I've been in a wedding where like there are these altars that literally stick in the way, but I can't walk into the audience. I have to figure out how to make it work. Like sometimes instead of being in the front, I have to be in the back and look at the groom, and then the other camera has to be looking at the bride from the back too.
Exactly.
And
We
so,
just had that exact scenario. The way they had it set up, there was no way, because they had a backdrop behind the minister and everything, so there was no way for us to position ourselves to be able to see face on to the bride and groom both. So we had to set up two separate cameras that were shooting two different angles, and then in the editing we'd have to chop back and forth when they're saying their vows and stuff. So yeah.
So it went from there, and then I think that's one of the origin points, and the other origin is when me and my brother were in middle school. He had it was like when the zombie craze happened, and so he shot his own zombie thing with like these like point and shoot these old ones that use like AA batteries. And so like we shot with those, and that's where I think our creativity grew up from, is just pointing and shooting what we thought, and then eventually he's like, I like this, and so he developed it further, and there's like he shot like one version, and then like a year or two later another version, and then constantly works on it, and then finally 10 years happen, and we look back on these videos and we're like, wow, we're little kids doing like the shooting things we didn't know what to do, and now we look at like our shorts that we understand how like the cinematography works and all this. So like I think the skill comes from wedding, and then the opening the door came when we were younger. So we were able to merge the two.
You caught the bug early.
Yeah,
and you learned how to do it during the weddings. Okay.
Yeah, and so and weddings are kind of stressful.
Very stressful.
They're like, can you get this, and if you've ever been to an Asian wedding, they're like,
you're everything. You're the photographer, the waiter.
They're
you're like, yo, I'm just doing this.
I'm just doing this. Can I take a break? But I went to a wedding and there's like 30 round tables with like 12 people each. The bride and groom were like, can you go through every table and record us taking a toast with each of the family members? And so my brother did that, and I ate. And then,
everybody.
Yeah, but it was like, sometimes they ask a lot, and that's like, it depends on you as like the videographer if you want to do it or not.
Yeah.
But honestly, you probably shouldn't do all of them, because that footage isn't useful.
Yeah, most of it's not going to get used.
Yeah,
you're only going to use so much, right?
And if a wedding's like 12 hours long and they ask for the raw footage, they're not going to go through all 12 hours of footage, So it's kind of like, realistically, you think it's not, you shouldn't do it.
Yeah.
But you do it to make them happy.
Of course.
And that's where a little bit of almost salesmanship comes in, where you and creativity as well, because you have to be able to explain to them in a pleasant way that their exact idea may not be plausible, but here's another way that we could do it, still achieve what you're looking for. It take a quarter of the time, and so
It really is also... You're going to explain this to somebody's wedding. How, okay.
I'm not going to lie to you. I've done it before. And so, like, one of the approaches...
It doesn't always work.
It doesn't.
But sometimes.
Right.
But, you do start off with, like, hey, today's a very special moment for you, and I know you're bombarded with all these things, so I just wanted to tell you, as a videographer, I would suggest you do this because in the editing it wouldn't work. And they're like, oh, okay. Because you are the expert in that case. You understand what's being done, and you see.
Ultimately, they want it to look as good as possible.
Yeah, so like, and they're usually like, okay, just do whatever you are doing because you know what you're doing.
Right.
That's essentially what they're paying for. They're paying for your expertise in that skill. And so, I mean, it sounds kind of like a getaway, but it's literally like, if you don't want to film a whole section of like people like talking, you advise them
talking for no reason.
Talking for no reason. You literally advise them.
What do you mean for no reason?
Just
no, I know.
Like family chit chat.
I know.
When they do like when they stand up to talk, and it's like 4 different people from each side talking, you're like, wait. this is literally like an hour-long talk, and you
Yeah.
ask for like a 7-minute video. How are you gonna put 4 people and the rest of the ceremonies? So it's not realistic.
Yeah.
And you advise them your like opinion and whatever, and then they're usually okay with it because they understand. One, they're bombarded with being
Yeah.
busy,
with
and
the
they just
wedding.
can care less at the moment.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you're also you have that creative vision that you can apply to them. Be like, this probably is not going to even be used at all. So I'd suggest that it's okay. Save this memory, this time for something else.
Right.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, everybody knows the key points at a wedding that you really want on the video, and all the rest of it is just to make it pretty.
How long? How many years have you been doing weddings? Because these are special moments. How long have you been capturing people's special moments?
Special. Sure.
Oh,
About 7 years.
okay.
Each
Wow, that's a long time, yeah.
each January. You know how old am I? So I'm 25.
Right.
Minus 7. I was like 5. I was what? Is it 12? Does that make sense? No. Right. 5 from
first
5.
wedding when I
Oh,
was 12.
18. There you go.
There you go.
18, 17. Well, it started off with a small being a family thing, and then
Uh-huh.
it was people were like, wow, it looks great. You
Yeah.
guys thought about doing weddings, and so. Each year we've gone to the Seattle wedding show, and then we pitch our
Wow.
Oh, nice.
yeah, and so
Okay.
it's kind of scary. I'm not gonna lie, being a salesman. I'm not a salesman, so I'm
Okay.
like,
Yeah.
but this is where acting comes in, and it's great because
Yes.
I'm understanding how to apply acting and salesman all in one. It's like,
Mhm.
are you interested in wedding videography? Oh, it's gonna be fantastic. People are like, wow, and in reality, I'm like, oh my god. But it's an experience, and so I'm really grateful for being an actor and learning the acting to apply to these weddings, but at the same time having that wedding to understand talking to people on a more humanly emotional level, and that's a great thing.
Right. I would be the type of person that would want multiple things from one, So if I find out you're my photographer or videographer and you have some acting skills, I'm like, how should I hold my head? Should I smile like this? I'm gonna ask all these extra questions too. They're gonna ask.
I know, but
Right.
when you have flowers, dining, guests, all these, you're literally the least thing you're doing is, and then your husband or wife, of
Yeah.
course,
Right.
the least thing you're gonna be asking is, how am I gonna
Right.
literally at weddings, the photographer will literally be like, can I have 30 minutes with you guys, just you two? And they'll be like, okay, and they'll be like, it works, and they'll be like, walk and then casually do whatever you're doing, and then they'll take pictures, and then we'll just record, and then the photographer will usually be like, hey, hold each other's hands and maybe tilt your head a bit, and then they just do it because
Oh, so you
they're on a time crunch.
start directing.
Yeah.
You direct because at the same time, like I said, you're the expert,
Right.
and you're trying to make them look good, and so they just do it. But at the same time, the energy and time you put into arguing probably won't benefit you on your wedding
Yeah.
day.
Right. So cinematographer.
Cinematographer.
So, yeah, it's different than
Photography.
video.
Yes, in the very slight understanding that cinematography is more about
Cinema.
cinema. Videography, I'm talking, could be you get any camcorder and just do household videos, your uncle
Home
making
movies.
your home movies. Not saying that's the direct, definition, but
Yeah.
and I'm not right, I don't
No.
want anyone to quote me wrong. It's
I'm
more
understanding.
That's the
it's
way I
different.
view it,
You're
too.
doing cinema. Yeah.
Cinema is really putting your vision of how you want the specific scene to look out.
Yes.
If you want this sad scene or this happy scene, you might change lighting, you might change angle, you might change lens to create that feel.
Yeah.
And then
Good example. But I came up working in the music industry primarily before I made the transition to film. But I would go on the road a lot to film behind the scenes of tours. Be on the stage with the artist and everything, filming everything. Was never really cinematic, meaning something that you would see in a theater.
Okay.
It was meant for the tail end of a DVD or B-roll for a music video or something like that,
Okay.
or a documentary style something.
Yeah.
The difference is, in that same scenario, if it was cinematography, we're going to stage things so that they look the best, the lighting is perfect, the crowd is just so, they're making just the right noise, and we can repeat things.
Right. You're creating
so
an atmosphere.
that it looks right on the big screen
Yes.
or on your TV,
Yes.
and not just on YouTube.
That really is. I mean,
Hey.
you watch like 1917 or Parasite.
Yes,
And you just look and you're like, wow, that cinematography is just
yeah, amazing.
amazing. You know, like the thing about that cinematography of like Parasite, that building isn't real. They constructed that building.
I just heard about that a few
to
days
like
ago.
yeah, so it's like okay, you know, and then now like these subtle movements that really like put you from like an audience to the character or whatever. It's like
Yeah.
that's I think part of cinematography is that feel to understand being there and watching like immersing yourself in that, you know,
Yeah.
whatever fantasy you're going into.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. We have a couple of your short films.
Yeah.
I was thinking that maybe we could play part of one of them, and you could just tell us a little bit about how it was to make these scenes.
Okay, yeah.
I don't remember the actual name of my favorite one.
That's okay. We'll just
The
pop it up and
one, the one with the truck.
oh, the one me dying. All right. So,
That was you in the bed of the
That was
truck.
That's
me.
my
Okay,
favorite
yeah.
one.
so
Oh my goodness.
What is the title of that one?
I don't remember either. We're just
Okay, I don't feel so bad.
it's okay.
I'm gonna
Yeah,
blink twice.
we're always in like a constant like state of producing things that
Okay.
you know, like your mind's just wrapped about the project that's coming up that
Yes.
you kind of forget.
Yeah.
Like there are big ones like Batoro, the horror 48 that we did, and I directed that and I shot some of it, and so that one's big for me because
That was for the one in October last year,
Yep,
right?
yep,
Yeah.
yep, and
That was
so-
the first time I got to see some of your work.
oh yeah, so like
I was like nudging the guys from my team. I was like, we got to work with this guy.
It's currently playing.
Oh, it's currently playing?
Yes.
Okay.
It's quite loud, so I turned that down. But it is currently playing over.
Okay, we'll wait for it to come up on, because we have a little bit of delay on the feed. And then,
It's already
there we go.
over.
there we go.
This is the film. The mic's still on, so
Okay.
we can discuss what's happening.
Yes.
So this one's Aftermath. So this one's kind of interesting.
Aftermath, that's right, yeah.
All these shorts, some of them we're doing are actually actor reels.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and so they pay us, and then we'll write a story that caters to their character. And oh, actually, I take this one. This one isn't. But yeah, some of them are like actor reels, and
Okay.
so because sometimes you can't get a role, or you know, I think the key thing is if you can't get it, make it. Right?
Yeah.
And so we're helping people
It's-
make it. And
It's
so,
like trying to get a job with nothing on your resume yet.
Mhm.
You can't get a job without experience. You can't get experience without the job. So
It's a paradox.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so like there's another one, but like we shoot these and then we have the person that pays, we'll focus on them and all this, we'll write a character, we'll edit, we'll do the whole shenanigans for them. And like then I think the one with the Asian guy, Kevin, and the Indian guy, and the other ones on YouTube.
okay, the one that's still got him in it.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And then you know I'm pretty sure
That's
you
the
watched
other
it
one that we
when he's
downloaded.
running down the pier.
Yes,
Yeah, and so
that's
like
the other one we downloaded.
Samir is the guy who paid, and so we created that for us, short for him, so that he can cut the scenes he
Okay.
thinks are strongest for him to put in his reel.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
But at the same time, we get to practice our skill, you know.
Of course, yeah.
So I think we spoke about this briefly before. The Asian, what's the Asian guy's name?
Kevin.
Kevin. He choreographed this little
Yeah.
fight scene coming up.
Yep. And so on YouTube, if you saw the other one called Old Bird, he
Yes.
helped choreograph that, and I shot like the fight scene and
Oh, okay.
some stuff for that.
Okay,
And so like
cool.
each of us have like a role, and so he's good at the choreographing, stunt fighting, but he's not good at cinematography, right?
Okay.
So
Gotcha.
that's where
Yeah.
I come in, and he's good at like marketing and acting, and so we all have our roles. in
Strengths.
this.
Yeah. It's really good when you can put together a team like that. It took me probably 15 years to finally find the guys that knew what their strengths were and were okay just sticking to that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, okay,
I can tell you this whole thing shot in one like day.
okay.
This
Was it?
whole like
Okay.
anything by this truck was all shot in one day.
Are you guys by the pier, by the water? Yep, by
In
some
Des
water.
Moines,
Oh, okay.
Oh, it was out in Des Moines.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
It's nice.
we call it the marina, and so.
Yeah.
But okay, we have like this funny inside joke where it's like every time you see him, Kevin, he's the same character in every movie, and so technically they're all connected, and you just have to understand our.
That's a
the
cool idea,
universe.
though.
Mm-hmm.
Because in Patoro, he's there.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Okay.
He's there.
Yeah.
He's
yeah.
like there's two girls that are whatever.
Yeah, right at the beginning.
And then in another short we did for him, he wanted to do the HBO Asian Pacific American Film Festival.
Okay.
And so I don't want to dive too much into it, but he plays the characters there, and so in a way we're like, his character in that movie is the same character in like all the other movies, just to try to tie it as a small like.
That's
Easter
really
egg
clever.
thing.
I like that.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm dead here, but I don't play many roles because I'm usually behind the screen.
Yes.
So, but
That was the end of that one.
Yeah.
Why don't we go ahead and throw to the other video that we downloaded, and this time you can go ahead and turn the mic down. We'll just let the audience watch that one, and that way we can take a quick break, let the audience watch that video, and then we'll come back and talk some more about it.
sure, great. Well, that happens. We recently.
I can't shake this feeling, like I'm being watched.
Who's watching you?
Everyone. She's staring at me.
You're hallucinating.
No, I'm not.
Ethan,
What?
why would anyone be after you?
I don't know, I haven't done anything. Are you even listening?
You sure about that?
Why would you say that?
Because we know what you did. Are you okay, bro?
Yeah. Bad dream, I guess.
Have some water. You look pale.
Thanks. Where are we going anyway?
Get ready. We're almost late.
Late for what?
Start to rolling. Mike's back on.
Give it to the world.
So you were saying that you weren't actually on set
For
a
this
lot
one as
for
much,
this one?
yeah, just because I think I was doing a lot like extra work.
Mhm.
So like there was a point I don't remember when we did this, but what do you call it? I had some extra work in Portland, so I'd drive down. And I'd
Oh,
drive back.
okay.
If I'm correct, if not, I think I was doing something else like that dealt with acting, and so like I didn't get the chance to be on set for that one.
Yeah.
But pretty much every other one I've been on set, or like I've helped film or edit and direct. If anything, like usually like I end up doing like a rough draft edit of it, and then my brother does like the final like things that adds the beat, removes a certain beat, and so I try to help out the by finding the right scenes, you know.
Mhm.
And then I usually do a lot of the music, and I do a lot of like audio levels and stuff like that. So that's something
Okay.
I'm learning to do. Funny story. We did a 48 in July, the regular one.
Oh yeah, the one before. Yeah.
It's called Project Overlook.
Okay.
And
Actually, yeah, that was the first one that I saw because I was part of somebody else's team.
Oh, yeah.
I just came on board as the editor just to learn how the whole process worked because I'd never done one before. And then by the horror one, we put together our own team. So that was actually the first one that I
Okay.
saw.
Did you enjoy the music, the sound effect for that?
Absolutely.
Oh, it was the most. That night after we finished or halfway through, I promised friend I had to go to a party, so I left and I went to a party. I got super wasted, kind of hungover, puked outside my car when I woke up, drove home not super early, like 10, 11. It was in Linwood, so it was pretty far. So then I came back home, and then my brother's like, "No one can do audio. You need to do audio." I'm like, "What?"
Like right now.
Right now, and my other brother had to leave to go do something, so I'm like, kind of slightly hungover. I'm like, okay, here we go. And then in that competition, we won the best like sound effects, music, and like all this and that. And I was like, wow, ironic, but okay. But yeah, so
And
like
I was so hungover.
And it's so good, huh?
it sounded great, but I was like,
That's when you do your best.
yeah, you do your best when you're in a bad situation.
Yeah.
It really is.
When you
Right.
gotta push through.
Right.
You gotta
Yeah.
push through, and it was due at 7, and it was like editing, and then so.
That's awesome. So, for the people that are just tuning back in, we're sitting here with Suwanchote.
Yeah.
I said it right. Yay! And tell them the name of your company again.
So Empower Video Production, and so it's like a production company, but we also do a lot of things like from short films for our personal projects to helping upcoming actors with demo reel. So if you're not in one, we can help you make one.
There you go. Awesome. And we will have his contact information in the description below the video
Yes.
after it's over. So, I was going to ask you whether it's, because I know the 48-hour film projects are extremely stressful.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of fun.
Oh yeah.
But it's very stressful for those that don't know, it's a competition. It's not only in Seattle, but it's all over the place that they put filmmakers together, that filmmakers create teams, and they have from 7 p.m. on Friday night until 7 p.m. on Sunday to write, shoot, edit, do the music, sound effects,
the whole shebang.
any VFX, anything like that has to be all done and complete and turned in. And at least the two that I was on, we were limited to only 7 minutes for our film.
Yep.
Okay.
I don't know if it's that way every time.
It is.
but-
We've definitely done it for like
So
8 years.
you get to pick
Oh, yeah,
what
yeah.
kind of film you're gonna do
No.
on your own.
No, that's the tricky part.
That's
Yeah,
the
because
fun
I was gonna
part.
write my
Because-
stuff ahead of time.
You get an overall genre based on, like the last one that we did was horror because
Yes.
it was during Halloween.
I saw that one.
But during the kickoff event, before they actually say, okay, go,
Okay.
you go up and you draw a subgenre.
Okay.
So it could be anything from comedy to romance to
Musical.
to
Silent film.
noir,
Yeah, yeah.
silent film, in addition to being horror. So, but you never know these elements. Plus, they give you a prop that has to be used, a line that has to be used, and a character that has to be used. You never know this until right before the time starts. So you can't like pre-plan a whole short film.
No.
It's all got to be made up right
Within
then
that 48 hours.
Yeah.
when the gun bangs.
Wow.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
like
What pressure.
oh, I feel like I lose like years off my life every time I have to stay
Right.
40
Yeah.
hours. So, like,
Oh.
I think the actors have it hard. This is my opinion. Actors have it hard in the show, like the beginning, the other day, but then the crew, specifically the directors and editors, have it the most taxing because you're not done until it's 7.
Yeah.
And like I know my brothers stay up till like 7, and then one of us turns it in, and we knock out. But then like our sleep schedule is like screwed.
Your sleep for the next 3 days.
Yeah.
But,
So how often?
shout out to
Yeah.
48-hour film project, the one in here in Seattle anyways, because those are the ones that we've been directly related with. I'm not sure when the next one is, but they
How
have a
often are
Facebook
they
page. They have a
normally?
Facebook page. It's every couple of months.
It's
Oh,
2-3
okay.
months.
So it's often.
There's only 2 a year.
Okay,
There's
twice
a
a
2
year.
year?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's the regular one
Okay.
and then the horror. And so
Oh.
here's the
Okay.
thing.
Okay.
Like I said, I'm still new to it.
Yeah.
This
So
last
like the
year
one
was the
that's
first
like
time.
June or July, that's the regular one.
When
Yeah.
you say regular, what do you mean? I know what horror is, but
Like there's no like any genre you pick out is what you get. So there's no horror connected to it. So in horror, the top of the umbrella is horror. And then
Okay.
it's horror comedy,
Or
horror
this, horror that,
supernatural.
gotcha.
Yeah, but in the regular one, it's just
just
anything goes. Any
Okay.
genre goes. So
Okay,
like
cool.
you can pick horror, and then you
Okay.
can just make it horror any way you want. You
Right.
can make
Yeah.
a comedy. You can
Right.
make an era piece, and that's you know.
But keep in mind that you're picking out of a bag, so you don't really get to pick, oh, I want to do a musical. It's whatever comes out of the bag, and
Right.
then you have to figure out how to make that work.
Yeah, it's usually two. You pick up two,
Yeah,
and then it's
yeah, you get to pick one or the other.
one or the other.
Uh-huh.
And some of them sometimes are really bad, but you gotta go with the one that's like less bad for you. So
right.
like, oh,
the less
Yeah.
of the two
Yeah.
bad. Yeah.
Yeah, I think like we got one that was like serial killer or like I think like musical once, and we're like,
Yeah.
serial killer is not our thing, but I know musical is never gonna work, so we went with serial killers instead.
Yeah, but if you guys are interested in that, they do have a Facebook page and a website and all that. Just look up 48 Hour Film Project Seattle. So yeah, shout out to them because we had a blast doing it both times that I was part of it.
Yeah, you know, it's a blast. I think it's a great way to really get your feet in like an aspect of the industry where like
Absolutely.
chop,
I
like
got right from the jump, the first time that I joined a team, I just joined as an editor because I didn't want the responsibility of running a team yet because I didn't know how any of it worked. But I got to meet some really great people. I got to get my foot in the door because I hadn't really gotten recognized with the film community itself. I was known around town as a cinematographer, doing music videos and things like that, but when it came to doing film, I hadn't had anything come out yet or anything like that, so it was a great way for me to meet legitimate actors here in Seattle, other directors and, you know, DPs and editors
Right.
and VFX guys, and and everybody welcomed me with open arms, even though it was my very first time. So
Awesome.
it was awesome.
I think you know the thing about that is every 48 you always have new people, and that's what's
Yeah.
it's great is you'll have new people, and it's I think in a way it's the culture. Most of the culture is that you always have new people, so you're always helping them out.
Okay.
But at the same time, you know, who doesn't like seeing their product on the big screen, right?
Yes, that was a rush.
yeah.
You know, it
Seeing
seems
my name on that
it
big
seems a
screen.
little flipped, right? To me, 48 hours to me would seem like with somebody who, not where you start off at. Like it seems like this is where you would be after you've.
It's a great way to learn where your strengths are.
Okay. Oh, this is where
because-
you get called out. This is where you can
because-
see.
Yeah.
You can. I think depends on what group you're in. That's
Okay.
honestly like, I think you know, some groups, and let's be honest, some people don't want to hurt other people's feelings.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
for sure.
And
for
but
sure.
in the film industry, everything's pretty much kind of cutthroat and not personal. Like honestly, as an
You
actor, like
definitely have to have a thick skin.
Yeah, you have to
He
because-
said cutthroat. Don't change it up.
It's,
Yeah.
because like honestly like and I think this is what I realized about being an actor is like I could submit an audition, and if I don't get it, I shouldn't be butthurt. It's just clearly maybe by looks I don't fit that character, and I can't be like I tried my best. I did, you know, it doesn't matter because
why am I even doing this? You know,
They
yeah
don't
you
like
can't
it.
go
because
down that road.
they could literally judge you just by the look, and it's like this character doesn't fit.
Doesn't fit.
Yeah, so like you can't take it personally, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And it could just be your picture on the top of your bio,
Mhm.
and they haven't even met you yet, and
Mhm.
they already rule you out just because you don't look like what they envisioned.
Yep.
Well, they
yep.
might be looking for like an old man or something. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? And then here you are, a young man. You're 25, so they're
Or-
like, oh no, he
Why
doesn't
you
fit
look
this
at me
role.
when you said old man? And then,
Yeah, please look at me. I don't mind.
He's trying to start stuff.
But yeah, and you know, and I think, and honestly, is you should be in a group that can tell you what you're doing wrong.
Okay.
As blunt and as painful as this is, I think the truth is a lot better than like, you know, oh, great actor, great actor, and then you suddenly go to California and it's like you're crap. But instead, if you knew right now that you're crap,
Uh-huh.
you get to work on it in a positive criticism way.
Uh-huh.
It's always helpful to be like, hey, you know what, this shot didn't work or whatever. Let's find another way, you know. Instead of just be
Yeah.
like, yeah, you know, it's fine, it's good. I don't think it helps you grow. That's
Right.
my opinion.
are there boundaries to what roles you're willing to do, or are you willing to like challenge yourself and
Specify what you need.
nothing like
Naked in a bathtub.
no. I swear that is not. I know you obviously. You were
You
like,
know,
wait a minute.
I'm not, okay.
Who said that was an issue?
I've been working with my self confidence,
That was not my question.
I've been working more with my self confidence. So I've been more like confident with how I look, like first appearance wise. But I know my body kind of.
You been getting naked? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I would get naked.
Okay.
I know I'm fit. I know I'm fit.
Okay, that was not okay. So I was more so thinking like roles that play other characters, like unisex roles, like Medea, or I don't know. Or how Martin, like just something that's kind of totally different. Maybe play an alien role, or or some, like something, that's not just your regular
I think.
person.
Yes, I would, just because one, I think.
Costume wise, and things of that nature.
Oh, I think the answer should almost always be yes, because
Okay.
I feel like same thing with like food. You don't know if you like it if you haven't tried it.
Right.
But also at the same time,
Yeah.
what can you take from that growing
Okay.
wise? What can you learn from that? Like, oh crap, I hate being in a silicone suit for 8 hours a day.
Oh,
Maybe
yeah.
next time I won't. Or like,
Yeah.
maybe this is really easy because I don't have to emote facial expressions. I can just walk a certain way.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you learn what you like want from it, and then you make connections.
Mhm.
But at the same time, I think it's always great to challenge yourself to always grow and broaden that range. If you're always like a happy guy, happy character,
Yeah.
maybe for once play an angry, social person. Like who gets angry all the time.
Right.
But not really angry. Maybe just irritated easily. So like, you can apply it in your range. You look at like you look at like Matthew McConaughey, right?
Uh-huh.
Years ago, he was like, right on.
Yeah.
But now he played Interstellar, True Detective, and
Yeah.
you're watching these, and he's like,
Yeah.
wow,
Yeah.
this is not
Yeah.
the guy. So it's just, built. Even Robert Pattinson, you watch, he did what is that? Lighthouse. Oh man,
Lighthouse.
that movie was
I still haven't seen that
disturbing.
yet.
Yeah.
Everybody keeps telling me, no, you got to go watch that. You can't base his career off of just Twilight.
Yeah.
And I'm like, my issue is just like I was saying on the last episode with Michael. Twilight was shoved down my throat so much when it first came out that I didn't want to see anything with any of those actors in it for the longest. But now it's been long enough. I'm over that, and I keep hearing how solid of an actor he is. So I gotta take time to sit down and go watch some of his other films, because that's really the only thing I know him from.
Would you do reality TV?
Oh yeah, I think it'd be fun. I just don't think I have like.
Well, reality TV, they're kind of, no matter what the show is, eventually they get a little ratchet.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
Who doesn't get ratchet? I mean, okay, so like.
I don't see you being ratchet.
Little random thing. Occasionally, I stream. I won't tell you what platform. I won't tell you, and it's nothing lewd or nothing like pornography related. I can tell you
How come we
that.
don't mess with him? Don't you got a question?
But I stream, and I have a personality on there that's slightly different than my real personality. But like, I understand that if I have this personality on streaming, and people see me that way, it's not really who I am all the time. So like, I try to have it both ways. Like, I am who I am on the stream as I am here, and I'm not gonna lie, on the streams, someone would be like, you won't take off your shirt, and I'll be like, I won't, but I will, and take it off. And so like, the only thing like I don't see is, I don't think my under pressure, I get so nervous and anxious. Like a reality TV, I'd be like, oh yeah, it's fine. I'm not showcasing who I am all the time. Like if you see me with my brothers and everything, it's a totally different like group where we're cracking jokes left and right. We're doing improv that's inappropriate, but like, yeah. So I think it just depends on like how comfortable as an actor I get. You know, I think like I don't remember who said it, but like one of the big actors was literally like, when I'm on screen, I'm this character, but when I'm away, I'm a shy, reserved, nervous person. And so like,
in your real life.
Yeah, to distinguish that is really hard to be able to do, because when I'm like auditioning, I'm like, oh shit, but then I should understand this is not me, but this is who I'm trying to be or play. But it's just hard to be able to separate that. Yeah.
I dealt with the exact same thing when I first started in entertainment of any kind. I started out way back in 1987 as a DJ, and it was exactly like what you're talking about. When I'm up in the DJ booth, and this was back when you went to clubs to see specific DJs. You didn't just go to a nightclub to have a drink and whatever. You went there because it was that DJ.
You followed it.
So the DJ had a whole persona behind him. They were the star of the nightclub. But away from the club, when I didn't have my turntables and stuff, I was a totally different person, you know? So I totally get what you're talking about.
You
And-
really, in a way, my friend always says it. In Aftermath, the other guy, the Mexican guy, his name's Ariel. He's there like, you do as an actor, as whatever in life, you really are the product you're trying to sell, right?
Yeah.
Because as an actor, you're trying to sell them who Suwanchote is, who Bella is, who Aaron is, you know, and like why should they invest their money and time in this person, you know?
Absolutely.
And so like that's something I'm learning is that, you know, in a very business oriented mindset is that you're trying to achieve something, you need to have value in who you are, what you can be an asset to them, right? So like as a DJ, maybe, you know, you want to be like enthusiastic, but in reality you aren't. But the persona that you have to sell yourself for everyone to like is an enthusiastic fun.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yes.
And that might be scary, it might be opposite of you, but that's
Right.
what gets to work, and maybe that's what you also want to be by the end of your career. Per se,
Yeah.
yeah. So like, yeah.
Okay, well, go ahead. I have a question.
Go ahead.
You know, I got
Go ahead.
questions.
You got questions all day?
Wait, don't start. We just met. Already?
Yeah, that means we're comfortable, right?
Oh, is that what that means?
You know?
You know, he knows how to, you know, don't be selling me no
You already
wedding
asked him if
photos.
you already asked him if he'd get naked. Go.
No, I did
Oh
not.
yeah, oh yeah.
That is not what happened.
What had happened was,
So, with acting roles, right? Do you think it's because I've seen it go both ways, right? But I wanted your opinion. Do you think it's an asset or kind of a disservice to kind of be that actor that only plays this kind of role?
You know, I don't think I'm in a stage in my life as an actor and a person to qualify to say anything that's like. But I do look at like you look at The Rock commercial, kind of plays himself.
Okay.
absolutely.
Just makes money. You beg the question why he does that. Maybe it's because that's what he likes to do. Maybe that's he can't get out of range, or you know,
Yeah.
some people just like money.
Maybe
Right.
that's just where he fits.
That's
you
just
know.
where he fits.
He doesn't know how
and
to
then-
do anything else.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you have other people like Leonardo DiCaprio, who can play Wolf of Wall Street, you know. But that's also like you ask yourself why then too, you know.
Okay.
But I think in a way their approach is slightly different, you know.
Okay.
Like people who have background experience in theater and all this can easier to expand their range. But like someone who commercial might just be easier to play themselves, and they can make profit off that. And who wouldn't like to play themselves and make money from that, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So like I think the question you want to ask is where do you,
Okay.
what type of actor do you want to be? What do you see yourself in? You know.
Right.
Do you want to see yourself in like a commercial like Jumanji and like
Yes. Pokemons everywhere and stuff.
yeah,
Yeah.
or do you want to be someone who does some films, some indie films that might not get recognized, but you get
Right.
to perform like different characters of
Yeah,
different ranges?
you really get to put
Right.
your whole heart into it.
Yeah.
And explore different avenues within within yourself. Yeah.
I think no matter what, as an actor, you're always a artist. It's just your why is different, you know.
Yeah.
It's just your why.
What do you think from your years of being on set? What is the? Oh, sorry, folks. We had to swap out a battery.
Hey.
Technical issues. I was going to ask.
That's when you know the show's really good.
Right, we're on fire. We're running out of
Real
batteries.
juicy. The audience is thirsty, you know.
Oh.
Yeah, there's lingo for you.
We got a couple thirsty people up in
Thirsty
here
people.
too. I'm finding out.
As far as being on set, whether it's a director or as an actor or doing audio, whatever the case may be, to date, what do you think has been the most difficult thing that you've had to overcome while on set? Just like spur of the moment, something happened and you're like, oh, I don't know how to fix this, but let's work around it.
I know there's something big that just happened, but I just just passed by.
Was
I'm
it
gonna-
when you were hungover? No, I'm playing.
No, it was a fun experience. Anyways, I think maybe in partly when we did Barturo, which was the Horror 48, is because like I was put upon like, oh hey, it's your birthday. It's also the Horror 48, so you can write the story. I was like, what?
Oh wow.
Yeah, so suddenly I'm sprung on that. And I'm like, oh, okay, we're here. Everyone's here. I'm like, oh.
Right.
And then at the same time, things go on, and then we find like the lighting on certain scenes didn't work out, and we're like, oh, jeez, you know. And then like I go to edit later, and it doesn't exactly work. And then I think it would be writing. I think the hardest to date is writing because I've done 2 Horror 48s, and the writing is always a struggle. And like as I'm trying to shoot this short like space film, the writing for that too is like I'm everywhere. Like I have a vision, I have a beginning, I have an end, but the middle doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So like getting that to become like cohesive is so confusingly hard.
Jeez, yeah. So do you write in parts, or do you write it all like from the beginning to the end, or do you like, okay, I got this idea right now, so I'm gonna put this down real quick, jot it down, and stick it in later? Or, like, is there a method to the madness, or you're like, I got every style?
My method is the most lazy and like whatever.
Laid back.
Laid back, but
I doubt you're lazy. Yeah.
Sure. I'm trying not to be. Let's put it
No,
that
I've
way.
seen
like-
your work. You got, you can't be lazy working like that.
No, but
Yeah.
I'm just gonna what is it called? I took screenwriting in college,
Okay.
script writing. That didn't bode too well because I don't understand storytelling. That's a whole story. Script writing is like writing it specifically in the form of script. You have
Okay.
to understand.
The formatting.
Yes, like
Oh.
forward indentation, like fade in,
Girl,
fade
boy,
out.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But storytelling is a whole different story. Do you know how to tell a story? You
Okay.
know? Like, do you know the arcs? Do you know the different types of like character, like story types?
Yeah.
Like
Like when to stick in the highs or the lows.
stuff
or
like
something?
that.
Is
Stuff
okay?
like that.
You
Yeah.
really need to learn the one before you can even attempt the other.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because even though the formatting is totally different,
Uh-huh.
it still has to make sense.
It still has to make sense.
At the end of the
Exactly.
day, so
Message.
And I think that's the thing that a lot of like people forget in our specifically state, or I think filmmakers in general, is you really need to understand how storytelling works.
Okay.
Because you can just have like, I'm just gonna walk down the street and go buy a coffee. That's a story, but where's the climax? What's the
Yeah.
conflict? What's the
Right.
the message
The
for
environment,
getting?
yeah.
What's the point, right?
Yeah.
And so like, I struggle definitely with the storytelling. So I don't do like it in conventionally. I'll do storyboarding because that's as visual as I can get without
Okay.
having to write something down. So I'd be like, okay. And there's this app on iPad that literally like you can put a character down
Okay.
and put the camera, change the angle and everything. It's like $100 a year, but you have like a 7-day trial. And so I'm just trying to make my shot by shot by shot by shot to tell the story and maybe write a note on what happens.
put it on a new computer every 7
app
days.
called?
Ooh.
Oh, okay, never mind. Pop quiz. I thought you okay, never mind.
Hold up.
Uh-oh. See, we're giving out the jewels here. We're waking up all your game around here.
I definitely think anyone can benefit from it. That's
Of
why
course.
it's always great to help other people with
Uh-huh.
that.
And if you're using it, so it's gotta be good.
Everyone has their own different approach.
Right.
It is called Previs Pro Story Fest.
That's actually the one that I've been wanting to buy.
Okay.
Yeah.
But every time
Thank
I
you.
keep telling myself it's one more thing that you got to learn how to use, and I really could use that money on another camera or something. I always have an excuse.
Is it
Yeah.
user friendly?
It's fairly
If
user
you
friendly.
know how to do this
Well,
stuff.
So it's
But
like
if you don't.
it's. I think you could easily get it in like an hour, the whole understanding of it.
Okay.
It literally is like an app, and then like you can do top view, 2D or 3D.
Mm-hmm.
You can move the camera forward, back, left, right, rotate,
Oh my goodness.
like X, Y, Z, and then you can create walls, so you can literally build the whole set on there.
Uh-huh.
And the lighting change, you can control lighting, and then
Oh,
once
nice.
you do that,
Yes.
say like this is the scene we're looking at, we can capture this scene. It'll take a picture, it'll tell you like what lens length and how far you are and all this and that, and so that's what's so nice about it.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's not hard.
informative.
It's not animated, you can't play it in like
Yeah,
sequence,
yeah.
but you have to just you're literally taking screenshots
Yes.
of the way you want to build
But it
it.
has built-in models for actors and
Yeah.
things like that.
Oh, and the other cool thing is one you can put on a background, right? So you take a background of like this,
Okay.
and then you could put your characters in that background. So you could imagine how like you want us to sit in this background.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is they do an AR, augmented reality. You take a picture and then you could put those characters you just created in the scene in a chair, you know, maybe like a torture scene, and then it projects right into the camera.
Okay.
And then you're literally looking at it, and then you can go in a 360 so that you can see what angle you want instead of like
Nice.
moving the camera.
Yes.
Yeah, so
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to make that investment.
it's,
because
I mean, $100 a year I think is like cheaper than any camera, and I mean,
it would make just blocking out a scene so much easier.
Oh, yeah.
Because you've already seen it. You've already seen how it's supposed to play out.
and then you get like, and then, you know, say you don't like it on here, you know you won't like it on there, right? Like you could be like, okay, you know, this lighting doesn't work this way, instead of having to be on the spot right there, change lighting.
Spend half a day trying to figure out the lighting.
I'm so petty. In my mind right now, I was just thinking, I was like, wait a minute, that was my question. Don't be learning off my question. I'm over here.
You know?
No, I'm kidding. I was like, wait, I haven't even put it together yet. You gotta wait. No, you said 1 hour? I said 1 year.
Half a year.
Right. Yeah, I could do it. 6 months.
No, I honestly think you could probably do it in a day, like just play around with it.
Yeah.
They literally have a tutorial too, so.
Okay.
Yeah. I always find excuses to buy other gear. So that's on me. It's
I
not
can help you
it's not
manage
the
your money.
software. You know how many women have told me that?
Oh,
Here he is. Here he is.
I always want to bring up other women.
Oh, hey, you know what? Some totally.
Matter of fact.
Hey, you know, Aaron, it's Bethany for you.
Oh,
But
boy.
yeah, so that's one thing.
Just get hot in here?
Oh, you know what? Oh. It's actually, I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm sweating because like part of being on like in front of the camera makes you like.
Oh, trust me,
Yeah,
me
with
too.
the lighting and
I'm
everything,
usually
yeah.
behind the camera.
Yeah, lighting. Yeah. Yeah, lighting.
What else could it be? Yeah.
Yeah, no. Not the fact that we're sitting on leather and I'm wearing 3 layers.
Is he calling the lighting? You don't see it, like you don't see like the shadowing and.
The glow that we set up just for her.
Oh yeah, she's in the middle, you know.
I recognize.
Oh, random thing. Recently, one thing I've been working on set is actually set design.
Okay.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, so like my oldest brother would do you know, shoot a scene. He'd be like, "How does this work?" And since I was an extra and a stand-in on the, you know, Pretty Little Liars, right?
Yeah.
They had a spin-off called The Perfectionist, so I was like an extra and I was a stand-in for one of the characters in there.
Okay.
And I got to see firsthand the Hollywood like set and how they like do stuff. So they're always cheating stuff, right? And so like instead of like what seems to be like over shoulder like this would literally be like this. Would be like that just to create that huge distance.
Yeah.
But then that bar that was in the scene was originally behind was maybe angled 45 degrees just to. So like I apply that and like I apply like the lighting. I'm like, okay, you know, I can learn from this, and so that's something cool I've been trying to just do with set design.
So little tricks you're
I've
learning.
been-
Yeah.
Yep.
I've been kind of on the same mission, learning more about forced perspective type things. Ever since I saw the behind the scenes from I forget which one it was, one of the Lord of the Rings movies, where they showed that it wasn't like a VFX thing. It was when Gandalf and I think Frodo were in the Hobbit house together.
Yeah.
And it was the way that they had them positioned, and the table was in different layers because of where the camera was, so that it all looked like it was all one piece. And it was just amazing to see how that all came together and made it look the way we saw it in the theaters.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable.
The illusion. I think
Yeah.
the cool thing about film is it literally is an illusion.
Yeah.
We can literally film you walking into that door, and the audience doesn't know what is behind that door.
Yeah.
And you can literally walk out of like into a conference room in Seattle.
Yeah.
You know, and like that's the cool thing about it.
We actually did that a couple of years ago with a music video that I was working on. The artist had actually lined up this place for us to shoot. They had this industrial elevator, that we shot this whole scene in, and then he comes out of the elevator and he winds up stumbling through this door, and we were supposed to go into this other hallway. It was a really cool looking hallway, but somebody didn't appreciate us being in that part, so they complained. We had to leave. So we only got half of the shots, but I was able to get the illusion going so that we got him stumbling through the door, and then from the other side of the door, we did it at my studio.
There you go.
So you couldn't really see what was on the back side of the door when he started to open it. And then when we cut and come from the other angle, from inside the door, and it just looks like he's coming in from outside. So it fit together just perfectly. It looked like he stumbled through this door into another reality.
Right.
Yep.
And it worked out great.
That,
So,
you know, and it could literally be like 10 miles apart,
Yeah,
100 miles
yeah.
apart.
Right.
The audience would never know.
we were just talking about that when we went to scout this site location just yesterday. And we found out that the initial plan that we had, we were supposed to go out there, it's like a 100-acre property. And the part of the scene is out in the wilderness. So the wilderness shots were perfect. But then we found out that the person that was going to let us use the cabin
Okay.
for the other scenes, like the indoor scenes, changed his mind. So then we started talking, well, technically,
Technical difficulties.
we could really use any cabin that's out in the woods
Okay.
because we're in Washington State.
Right.
All the woods look really similar.
Yep.
Right.
So it could be 100 miles apart and it'll still look like, oh yeah, they were just down the street.
Right.
So that's one of the beauties of working in film.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You gotta be
That
very
illusion.
creative, it
Yeah.
sounds like.
You do.
Uh-huh.
I will go off of, but also, you know, that's a problem. Like, I know a friend that's trying to shoot, like, a feature, and it's like, oh, in the forest, and the, you know, whatever, but our forest is such a specific forest. It's like, if you know the Pacific Northwest, you know
Right.
you're shooting.
Yeah.
If you're
Yeah.
trying to shoot, like, a rainforest type, yeah, it's
Uh-huh.
not gonna work here, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
But talking about technical difficulties, I think one of the biggest rules is always know that when you're filming, it's never gonna go how it goes.
Oh, yeah?
Oh no.
No, like either time is like you think you're gonna be done by 10,
Mm-hmm.
it never is done by 10.
Okay.
You think everything is gonna roll right, there's
Mhm.
always something wrong.
Mhm.
Always. Oh shoot, I forgot the charger. Oh no, I can't. No. Or the lens doesn't.
Oh, no,
And
yeah,
if you get to the end of your shoot and you're
Uh-huh.
like, oh wait, we finished with a little extra time and everything went right,
Uh-huh.
you're gonna figure out later something didn't go
Right.
Something always does.
No, it didn't go right. Yeah, there's no way.
Oh, you pop in everything, no audio. And you're like,
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
oh,
exactly,
no way.
exactly.
or yeah, or there's audio, all like super loud or super like things in the background. You're like, what is that
Everything's
humming?
popping,
And you
yeah.
can't. Just know that, yeah. Be ready that nothing goes your way.
Yeah, yeah.
What's your top 5 favorite movies?
Oh, now she went to 5.
Ooh, 5.
Started at 3.
Well, he's been watching movies a lot longer than
Well, longer than
learning
me
how
and
to.
you?
No,
Oh.
a lot longer than learning how to act. That's why I said top 3 for the acting, because you're learning. You know, right now it's still fresh, and you got the top 3 that's really important to you right now. But I could say top 20 for the movies at least, you know. But I'll do 5 because I know you've been watching movies and enjoying movies.
I'm
all your
actually
life.
super undecisive on movies. I sometimes just watch them, even if it's like a bad movie, just because like.
How about just something that you saw recently that really impressed you?
Right.
And for what reason?
I'm gonna go with 1917.
Okay.
Okay.
1917 was. I mean, I watched Parasite too, but 1917. I think the thing was. The cinematography was impressive,
Uh-huh.
but the story was so, in a way, grounded. I mean, it might not be real, fully real, but the fact that you just followed one soldier was like
Yeah.
very interesting, so emotional, but at the same time, you see, have you seen it?
Yeah.
Have you seen it?
Yeah,
I don't,
yeah.
you know, you follow one character, you follow 2 characters, or you follow however many characters, but then
Yeah.
the twist happens like just 10 minutes in,
Right.
and I'm like, whoa, you know, and
It
just,
started off.
it starts off so like, okay, and then it comes, okay, and it's like, oh, okay, and then like, what is it called? It's like, just to be able to have one actor carry the whole scene.
Right.
I thought that was tremendous, you know,
Yeah.
like, a lot of movies, you know, like, you look at like, Parasite, you have all these collaging actors that like can help each other bounce off or whatnot. But in 1917, you're literally following one guy as he's going through treacherous like amounts of like elemental things, like humans against him, and you're just like, wow, how's this guy doing this? But like, how are these shots done so seamlessly? And like the music, the lighting creates so much emotion. And I'm like, this is good to just. It's like everyone lives 24 hours. It's just like watching 1 hour of that guy's life.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, this is great to be in such a moment by moment. You know, you're not thinking about the future, you're not thinking about the past. You're just living right now, as if you were like someone on like floating behind him, watching him go through that part of his life. And it was just so like interesting to be able to just take time away from the past, the future, and just live in that moment.
Yeah, I actually want to purchase that so that I can see some of the behind the scenes featurettes on, because I'm just like you. How did they get that?
Yeah.
You know, and I'm always curious about that.
On Instagram, I can send it to you if I can find it. He talks a great section about it. But the most interesting about how they did that one scener, and I mean, I don't know enough to know to do it, but he's literally like the actual editor was on set. Literally.
Oh wow.
So like the moment that scene's done, you shoot it, you edit, right, as it happens. But the other thing is, that whole movie, the whole set was built, all of it.
Oh wow.
Because they had to measure out the distance, they had to measure out everything, they had to make sure the scene cuts and everything, and so
the timing and everything.
The timing and like
on point.
The flare, everything was measured to like a point, and like it's essentially like a huge, like obstacle course the character had to go through. And he said a lot of so like
that's definitely not like, hey, I need a gaffer. Who wants to come be in this film? That's like you handpicked.
Oh yeah.
Select individuals to make that whole thing work.
The specials of the specials, yeah.
That's amazing. I would have loved to have just been on set, just a shadow.
Oh
just,
I
won't touch nothing.
Be an extra also, you get your face seen, but you can just watch from afar, and like every once in a while, Roger Deacon can be like, you need to step to your left a bit because you don't. But I think, just being on something of that magnitude would be so amazing to just. I mean, like you see an actor and you're already fanboying, fangirling over. But I think to be on set like that is just like a whole different like a type of fanning. You're just like so overwhelmed by the genius level of like.
Yeah, it's so enormous.
So and you're like, you don't understand it, but someone understands it. You get a section, you get a picture of it.
And I think that's hugely key in doing film is, and that was probably my biggest obstacle to overcome, because I'm such I hate to admit it, but I'm kind of a control freak. I always have been. I do things because I don't
set you free.
I don't trust other people to do it the way that I would do it. So, and that's probably part of the reason I hear you over there laughing.
When he say other people.
Probably.
Fired today.
He got fired and rehired in about 5 minutes. That's probably a big part of the reason why it took me so long to find the team that I have now. But I totally lost my train of thought because I was talking to Sheldon. Anyways,
My bad.
Finding the team.
You're fired again.
In control. The writer writes the story, but then the director makes it happen in his vision. So the writer's like, no, it can't be a red cup instead of blue cup. I'm sorry, writer, but you don't have that power anymore because the writing is there. I think to give you the writing gives you the blueprint.
Okay.
Yes.
But the director makes that words into the vision. And that's what's so unique about the director is that it can literally be like Aaron stands up and Aaron jumps, right?
Right.
And that's what the writer wants. It literally could just be wide, but the director wants to emphasize like Aaron's like new shoes, so he's like on the shoes on Aaron's face, and that's the key thing is like the director has the power, literally.
Sometimes is
That's
there
why
a
I
give and
rewrite
take?
your script, Sheldon.
Sometimes is there a give and take?
My masterpiece.
I'm sorry. It was a joke. Go ahead.
Inside jokes.
We'll be quiet now. Go ahead.
So sometimes between the writer and the director? Is there a push and pull?
Oh, I think always, you know, I think,
Okay.
but like you
But always the director wins.
the
with
director
push and
should
pull.
always have the power at the end.
Okay.
I think
Power of veto.
in the most like in the absolute world, the director should, because it's his vision. The production company hired him to shoot a certain way,
Okay.
for them to tell this story a certain way, you know, and the story writer has its own input. But once the story is handed off, it's up to someone else to change that words into visions.
Okay.
But you think about like Game of Thrones didn't go by the book at all after a while.
Oh no.
Right.
Yeah, so like,
It's kind
and
of
you know,
switching around.
yeah, and so you switch around. Of course, there's
You could even tell a different writer.
And
Yeah.
most of the time, when you're on bigger productions like that, that's even in the contracts that, you know, there's stipulations that changes may be made.
Yep.
Okay, but so I'm with the changes because I'm thinking from the writer's point of view. You know what I mean? I'm cool with changes. I'm flexible. But let's say I really wanted my role to be someone that looked like you, someone that acted like you, and they're like, no, I think this role should be a woman.
Well, okay,
Instead.
so I think you that question dives a bit deeper in a different area where
Okay.
like
There's several meetings involved with that.
yeah, and you know you look at Scarlett Johansson in Ghost in the Shell, and she was a white woman playing an Asian character.
Uh-huh.
So you have that problem where like, is it just for money and like people wanting,
Okay.
or then it comes to like does the character, how well did you describe it though, you know?
Uh-huh.
And then I think the other thing, and I could be wrong, these are all my, you know, understanding as myself, so my opinion is you did just sell your script, and that's, I think, one thing is you sold
Yeah.
your script.
Oh, gotcha.
And then your hands off.
Your
That's
hands
it.
off. You
Okay.
wrote something for
Mhm.
someone else to interpret. If you
Okay.
wanted to do it, then you should have just shot it yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's my
Exactly.
understanding,
Okay.
opinion is, if
Yeah.
you wanted to cast, if I wanted to cast you guys
Yeah.
in like a comedy romance,
Yeah.
maybe I should have shot it myself instead of
Yeah.
have someone and be like, this character seems like it should be played by this one because it bodes well with the audience.
I love your attitude because, you know, I'm looking at it from an anal point. You know, I'm like anal about it. Like, well, wait a minute, I just wrote it. It took me this many. I've been visualizing this idea. You know, this characters, all of them, and you know, I'm expecting Pokemons, and you know, and then instead it's just a green room. No, I'm kidding.
Oh, here you go.
You could,
No, I'm so kidding. But do you
But
know what I
if
mean?
that's-
No, I like the fact that you have that good attitude and you just let go. You're like, hey, I did the project. Time to move on. They're gonna pick it up from here and they're gonna do something else with it, or not, or whatever.
But if you're in a situation like that where you are, like, say, the writer,
Uh-huh.
and you're very passionate about that story, being told exactly the way you saw it when you were writing it,
Okay.
then you would probably want to at least get involved with the production on like an executive producer level,
Okay.
where you can make calls like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because ultimately, once you like he was saying, once you hand over that script,
Uh-huh.
technically you're supposed to be hands off with the script, because
Okay.
from that point on, it's the director's
Vision.
interpretation
Mhm.
and vision of what you wrote on the paper. If you want to have more say so, and I've seen that happen, and I've heard about that happen, I've read
Okay.
articles about that happening, where there was like huge delays in production because there was issues between writers and directors and even actors that wanted certain things in the script that didn't
Okay.
happen. So there's ways around it, you
Right.
know. If it's your art that you're trying to get produced,
Okay.
then yeah, it can be tricky though.
So looking in from the outside, when I look at these huge movies, like let's say Bruce Willis, or even the Mission Impossible guy, Tom Cruise, or you know, like
TC, my
so.
man.
So when these huge type movies, do you think the writers or the directors, when they get the script or when they get the story,
They have that character in mind, that actor.
yeah,
I
do they
think
write it for? Once you get a certain level, do you?
Some definitely,
Okay.
because
Okay.
I know like.
It's just too good, right? It just seems
Well,
like it's
you write it because you're like, I imagine this character to play it, and he played, right? Like,
Yeah.
Uncut Gems, Safdie brothers were like, we want Adam Sandler to play
Yeah.
this. And after
Yeah.
many trials of like asking him to do it, he finally did it.
Okay.
But sometimes you have a good story, and you have the perfect character.
Okay.
I think like written to a T, that's when I think you could be like, yeah, this is what I want for the character.
I've even written some stuff where I was like, I don't even know the actor yet. Yet.
Yeah.
But I was like, it would be so dope if that actor played this character because it is that persona. Of course, I'm not to that level yet. I get there, but yeah, I've seen interviews with writers and directors that just knew when they were writing it who needed to play that role, and they went back and forth trying to work it out. And it didn't work, and then it did work, and then it didn't work, and then finally it worked out. So and it made an amazing film.
Yeah, you know, sometimes it's just like someone's like comedic style. That's what you need for like a rom-com, and that's exactly like say you need a Ryan Reynolds, and that's exactly because you know he does that. He can
Exactly
do that,
who I was thinking of.
Yeah, so like,
Yeah.
I think that's probably the exception, though.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time, they write characters in a kind of not really general way, but in a way that multiple actors could probably pull that off.
Okay.
And then that's where the casting director comes in, where they have people come in and do auditions or video auditions or whatever the case may be.
So right now, if you had an opportunity and you could pick any role, and the most that you're comfortable playing, besides a stripper. Clearly, you're good at that.
Let me just go to Vegas.
You're like, oh, my body, it's great right now, so I'm just gonna flaunt it. When I find out you're buying abs, we're gonna talk.
If I'm what?
Buying abs.
You know, like,
women we can buy.
Yeah.
What do men
Just
buy?
leave
Calves.
and let them talk.
no, maybe chest.
That's why I said abs, right?
What is it called?
Yeah. What's
Magic Mike 3.
Your
4. Hey, how's it going? Oh, it's getting real hot.
It's hot. Okay.
No,
You got your
but,
ears on.
I do actually get cold so easily.
Okay, so my question was.
What role would I want to take right now or do?
No, like if you were given, your favorite, like a role that you were like, you know what, this role is made for me. I'm gonna ace this role. This is what I want to play. If I had my choice.
Are you asking like what genre or?
Yeah, like the type of style, like of act.
If I could be a character right now,
Yeah.
I would
There
say I
you go,
don't
thank
know
you.
because I'm in the process of like my brother
Still kind of figuring that
figuring
out.
out, yeah, because like I'm not gonna lie, I'm like kind of an awkward shy guy.
Okay.
On certain occasions, at other times I'm very quirky. So like, I'd say I could be like I feel like not exactly like Gordon, Joseph Gordon-Levitt type of character, but like I feel like sometimes he's quirky, sometimes he's not. But at the same time, I think that's the thing about it is I'm trying to find my type.
Your niche.
My niche, because like Kevin, fighter, kind of looks like a fighter.
Yeah.
Ariel kind of looks like the soft hard guy that's like, I care but I don't care, but I'm also really tall and good looking. And my brother's kind of like has this like young but like confident looking to him, and so I think just by like just looks, and that's something I think I'm struggling. That's the thing is like we were really writing this web series for each of our characters, and I don't have a character yet, and that's the thing.
You feel like playing a cop?
I
might have a role for you here pretty soon.
I mean, I'm up to learn. I'm up to have my feet in the water.
I'm happy that you said that. He's not too excited about arresting people. Okay.
No.
Okay.
I'm always nervous to get in front of the camera. That's all. Like I'm much more comfortable behind the camera because
We can have you do a secondary character. So there's no pressure.
Whatever gets me the experience at the time,
There you go.
Much appreciate, and
There you go.
I'd be blessed to have it. Let me talk to my brother. We can write you guys in. Have you guys maybe be like a bartender or like someone like.
Oh my God, that's
We'll
funny
swap
that-
write-ins.
Yeah, that's funny
We'll
that you
swap
said
right in.
bartender because eventually we're gonna add that scenario to the show.
Yes.
Okay.
Where
We're gonna make
specialty
special drinks for our guests.
Yeah.
Oh,
And so-
You're just too early. You'll have to come back later.
Oh, we're definitely yeah.
I'm luckily I'm only like I'm 20. I can't even drink.
Okay.
Can't even drink. But yeah, that sounds great.
We'll
Yeah,
have to have
so-
maybe you and your brother
Yeah.
can come be some of the peripheral cops on our murder scene.
I will ask him. He's definitely super busy with the business part.
Oh, yeah,
He's
I'm sure.
running all the whole like Empower, and then he's doing other things. So I'm definitely the more lazy free one. So you're right. Yeah.
So, you know, you keep throwing out the lazy, but I bet if you threw out all your information right now, you want to share with everybody where everybody can reach you, how can they see your information? I bet you have a few websites, a few ways to locate you.
I'm really I'm trying to build my clout on Instagram,
Okay.
and so because I read a little story where Sophie Turner, who was Sansa in Game of Thrones,
Yes.
literally won her audition because she had clout over the other girl.
Wow.
They chose her because she was more popular. But they both had acting
I could
experience.
totally see that though.
But if you had someone that someone likes and knows, then why don't you take that one, right? If they
Right.
both are
I mean-
great actors.
Right.
We had
So you're on Instagram for sure.
Yeah.
What's your Instagram?
Super lava. It's super. It's like my full name.
Okay, we'll put it out.
We will
We'll-
put
we'll
it in the
share it. We'll
description
share it.
below.
Yeah.
But
And-
you can also Google. It says right under his name the name of his company.
Yep.
Empower Video Productions.
Yep. Yes.
Yeah.
On YouTube also.
Yep.
So you can look that up on YouTube and find not only the videos that we showed you tonight, but several other short films that
No.
excuse me.
It happens.
A crazy nut. You gotta put something in front of it. You know what I mean? You can't just leave it just at nut. You know, you gotta be like silly nut, crazy nut, gangster nut.
He's
You
not
know?
a rapper. What the hell?
No, this is
No. What's up? You feel me, bro?
not rapper. No, I mean.
Wish good.
Oh
you.
my gosh.
How you doing?
Oh, my stuff just gets turned upside down.
but-
So, T, this is your fault.
How?
Today.
How? Did we have any questions tonight? No?
Okay.
We had viewers though, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
I posted
feel
a
so
chat
bad.
if they have questions.
Okay.
Feel free.
I would
but
definitely
nothing.
say aside from Power, we like my brother's company. He does different shorts, and they're good shorts too. So
And what you want to give what is your, is it on empowerment as well?
no, it's a whole different.
It's a whole nother, he's like, we're not gonna talk about it.
I'd have to look it up. Just
Oh, okay,
because
okay.
We have a
That's
wedding
right.
one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me know, send me a message with
Yeah.
Yeah.
a link to his and we'll put it in the description for the video too.
Yeah. Wait, how's your next? Not this upcoming Wednesday. I'll be in Columbus. What's your next Wednesday looking like?
Next Wednesday,
The
let me
11th?
check my
Next.
schedule.
Yeah.
My brother Nuke's doing he's a powerlifter, and so he's at this huge powerlifting convention, sports
So-
convention.
Where at?
Nuke is your brother?
Oh, okay.
See, I'm friends with both of you, I believe,
Yeah.
on Facebook, but I thought you just had two different profiles.
No.
They look
And there's
really
actually-
similar.
I kind of thought you were just messing with me with
No.
saying your name different.
No, there also
You can also
exists.
call me this.
Yeah, you can also call me this, and I also look different.
You don't scream, please.
Oh,
I
sorry.
didn't really pay attention to the picture. I saw the last name, and I was like, really, dude? I can
No.
barely pronounce the first one.
No, there's actually a third one also. So there's actually
Right, a
Oh,
few
wonderful.
yeah, there's just three of
more
us.
than a couple.
So
So
you
do people
said-
think you're funny? Like in real life, like people think you're funny?
I don't know.
Do
About
people be laughing
I don't
at
know
you?
about that.
You
It
know?
depends. Like it
That's
depends.
the question I get asked before I get shot down.
No, not
So
like
really,
like
people think you're
totally-
funny?
But like Washington funny, like you know how Frasier.
Washington funny?
Well, yeah, like the ones that were like comedy
Snake?
shows that were no, not necessarily that. No, but like
Will and Grace.
you know, it's like a friendly, you
She's
know.
gonna smack the shit out of both of us
Oh,
after
you
the
know.
show's over.
I'm happy to have a.
Because you got that, you know, next door fresh face. You also have that can be a killer face, you know, depending on which way the movie's going.
Thank you. It's not used to
Sort of.
Thank.
Because you know the way you don't suspect, they're always the murderer.
I I don't know. You know what? I'm actually more of a serious guy most of the time.
Yeah.
But I try to crack up, and I think as an actor, I'm trying to just learn to laugh at things and listen up. You
Yeah,
know,
you're doing a great job. Yeah.
like it's a learning process. you
Yeah,
know?
it's working.
You said next Wednesday?
The 11th.
The
The
11th.
Wednesday.
Oh, Wednesdays.
The next.
2 Wednesdays away.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay, definitely send me the information.
Oh,
I'm completely open that day.
Okay, I was
So-
just gonna see if the empowered people want to come by your studio, meet you. You know.
Yeah, for
meet
sure.
The whole group.
For sure. Let me know.
Then interns might be coming that day, so it'd be great to just get them right into the.
Absolutely. We can open it up to the whole team.
Yeah.
Yeah, my brother has huge competition, so I'll be gone in Columbus. Arnold might be there, so that's cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
like it's his festival, and so that's
Okay.
my brother got into that competition.
That's an
so,
amazing
Oh, that's awesome.
accomplishment. Yeah.
So I'm excited
That's
to
awesome.
go there.
Powerlifting, so that's when they take the big weights. I mean, the big
Exactly.
bar is the bar, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But now what do they do?
The
with them?
shit that normal
Then they
people
lift
don't
it.
do.
Or do they do a squat? I don't know, because they squat and then lift it up, so I don't know if they're trying to do a squat.
pick it up and
or they
walk
need
with
to
it.
squat. Or they needed to squat to
Hold
pick it
trucks
up.
with their teeth and
See what I'm
shit. No.
You're holding globes as long as you can. You know?
Right.
You're
There's
Atlas
a
now.
whole world in my hand. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that what it is, Mr. World? No, this is called. What is this called? That he's about to do the competition.
He does powerlifting. And so it's just,
Powerlifting, okay.
it's just bench, squat, and deadlift. That's all.
Okay.
But he's doing a.
Oh, is powerlifting is just those three?
Yep, and then
Okay.
Olympic
Yeah.
lifting is snatch, jerk and clean, whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then strongman's where like Hathor Bjornson's like
Yeah.
Okay.
throwing like huge things over.
The universe. Right.
Yeah, because he's not a man, he's a god.
Right. Oh, okay. So he's just doing power fluid. That ain't nothing. Okay.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
not. He weighs
People
one.
throwing whole universes around.
He weighs 130. He's got a deadlift 600. Nothing.
Right.
you know,
Hey.
nothing.
Yeah. That's just West
Nothing.
Coast.
Oh boy.
Nothing.
Whew. You guys are a handful.
You guys. Yeah.
You guys.
I didn't do none.
You get your own script.
Real quick, I think we're just about out of time.
Mhm.
If you had one last thing that you want to say, anybody that's watching, new up and comers that might be watching,
Mhm.
that want to follow in your footsteps,
Mhm.
suggestions, positive quotes, anything.
Oh, I have a lot of positive quotes that I have to go through.
Who are you listening to? Like I know a lot, probably right? A lot of inspirational speakers, but who are you following right now?
Recently,
A
I
couple.
just listened to Proctor
Okay.
Proctor on a thing, but I think one of the great things is Wayne Dyer. Dang, let me pull it up real quick.
Nah, don't worry about it. Like pop quiz. What is? I'm introduced to Abraham Hicks like about a year ago, 2 years ago, and so I really like it. Like I've listened to ones that are kind of more churchy, but then I kind of like her because it's more about affirmations, and then also I like being able to basically woo good energy from the universe. Learning that the universe is our friend, not our enemy. So, not that I thought that anyways, but it was good to know that as well. That people, think the energy in the universe might work against them sometimes.
But I think sometimes all you have to do is be accepting of it, right?
Right.
It's there for you. Yeah.
Accepting.
Even
No,
if
like
it's-
more
I
positive.
was like,
Jesus.
hold up.
but no, I think I get what you're saying.
Yeah,
Even
yeah.
if it's working against you,
Mhm.
it's to teach you something.
Yeah. Go with the
It's
flow.
not. It's not to necessarily set you back,
Yeah.
but it's to teach you something that you may need in the future.
Right. Or even at the moment.
At least that's the way I look at it. I try
Yeah.
to look at everything positive.
Mhm. Since when?
Oh, here you go.
My quote from Wayne Dyer would be, "If you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change."
Yes. Good way.
Absolutely.
That's
You think
a good
this
one.
is a bad experience, it's going to be a bad experience. But if this is a learning experience, this is a learning experience.
I can vouch for that 100% because I've been on both sides of that coin,
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
and I know for a fact that it works. Changing how you look at it
Uh-huh.
will change how you feel about it.
Mhm. Okay, I'll look at you differently. We could be friends.
This is
No,
gonna
don't look at me differently. This is the best I got.
No, I was looking at you as a problem child, but now I'll just look past that. My petty.
And just see a
Woo.
child.
my outlook different. Okay. He's really not here.
Just
It's
never
really
look-
all me.
It's just me and you.
Yeah. Oh man, physics states if if I don't see it, it's not real.
Yeah, the cat in the box.
I've been teaching myself how to edit videos as well. Like this block cut.
Oh, here you go.
Oh, dude.
Don't let me show you the text where she's trying to get me to explain how the shit works.
Oh my gosh. I was like, wait, there's this app. Yeah. I was like, can you walk me through
Is there
it?
something I can just do on my phone to make a video?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We're just talking shit.
Yeah, even if the thing about it is he can send me everything that's going to show me how to make a video, but who's going to show me how to
I really did too.
use those things, you know?
I
But
went
yeah.
step by step to do like a story
Yeah, he did.
that was just like
Arrow,
pictures and video
circle.
clips that I was using off of my phone. And I would do screenshots of every step and I'd draw like an arrow. This is the button you got to push.
Yep.
And then she just stopped talking to me.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Wait, what are we talking about here? What program? No, what program? What program are we talking about here?
I sent
It
you.
was-
iMovie?
No.
It's
Adobe?
just built into my Samsung.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh.
For,
Can't be friends anymore.
Oh, one of
iPad.
those.
you know, I was careful. Yeah.
Oh, you're one of those people.
I mean,
iPhone.
he's been dropping all that
No,
information the
just
whole
to
night.
clarify, I don't
Apple
do,
gang.
iPhone.
I don't do
iPhone.
films that way. It's just for promo on
Oh,
Facebook.
he's trying to save face. Okay.
So-
He's backtrack. This is what they call backtracking in
Yeah.
politics.
I'm
Okay.
trying to save Facebook because it takes me 2 seconds to do a little promo to throw on Facebook using my Samsung S9 Plus. Sponsor my shit. Thank you.
Sponsored by Samsung. This show is
Not
sponsored
really.
by Samsung.
No, we can get sued, but I don't. We're not.
iPhone.
No.
Wait, do you have an iPhone?
We're not taking
No.
sides.
Actually, I went both ways. When they first came out, I was all the way iPhone.
I'm gonna have to leave now.
And then I worked my way
She said I
to,
went both ways. Like you bought 2 different phones?
and then I went BlackBerry, and then I went Android. That's how I did the.
I was gonna say you're still using a BlackBerry.
No, I'm saying the steps on how I moved
She got-
around.
you
Still go both
She
ways.
got a keyboard you can feel.
The ball. Hey, I still need a mouse instead of my finger.
I got haters in my life. I swear. Don't. I'm trying to tell you, don't be like him when you grow up.
Aaron and I, when I grow up, I just want to be just like him.
Don't say that. Don't say that. Because you got a lot of shit to go through to get there. Learn from my mistakes. Don't repeat them. Okay, we got about 2 minutes before we're going to wrap up. I just got the word from off camera that the song that we promised you at the end of the show is ready.
Yay.
My guy Jam,
Yes.
who is going to be making his debut in film this Tuesday, shooting a new scene from Reflection with my guy Raymond Power. And it's going to be amazing.
Right.
Not only are we doing reshoots, but we added a few scenes.
Okay.
It's dope.
And one of them might be the scene where we could use you as a cop. If you want to come get down,
Yeah.
we got room for you.
I will get down.
She's feeling left out. I'm gonna put her in an FBI jacket in the back.
So just walk across the street. That's all.
That's what the feds are. Right? They're always in the back lurking. You better film that.
Anyway,
no, I'm in the back lurking. I better be on film.
Larkin.
Any last words for anybody that's just about to tune out while we go to this music?
Hello and goodbye. Live in peace.
Right.
Live long and prosper.
There we go. Live long and prosper.
All right, and we're out to the music.
Ooh, let's hear this.
Excuse me, lady, I got something that they can keep a king's attention. I let my guard down around you, let go of inhibition. You got me open, I'm hoping that you could fit the. I wrap you up in love overflowing like running rivers. I'm not your cup of tea, let me be your wishy shot. Where others tried and failed, I know that I can hit the spot. If you permit me to quench your thirst, I won't ever stop reassuring your insecurities. I'm a boss, won't lead your heart astray. You can put your trust in me. Without you, girl, I'm lost, and with you, we the winning team. Magically, we can disappear in your fantasies and travel through your mind. Take my hand, girl, and go with me.
I'll try, you try. Meet me half the way. I'll cry, and you cry. Count up anything. Your love,
my life.
shines through my rain.
Don't pay, no mind.
Haters say,
Should I come and see you, girl, or you want me sent for you? I can get you off my mind, it shouldn't be this difficult. You occupying spaces got me feeling kinda spiritual. I get on my knees and praise your body like it's ritual. Simply stating facts to get attention from you, mama. Ain't worried about no competition, they just make me ha-ha. Saucy dripping when I spit it from a lip with jewelry in it. I just hope that I ain't said too much to make you think I'm tripping.
I've been hustling all my life. All I really wanna do is count up. And with you right by my side, we gon' show 'em how you do when you up. I've been hustling all my life. All I really wanna do is count up. And with you right by my side, we gon' show 'em how you do when you up. I'll try, you try. Meet me half the way. I'll cry, and you cry. Count up anything. Your love, my life. Sun shines through my rain.
Don't pay, no mind.
Haters say,
You didn't match your match, get you like I got you, girl, I'm different. I see that you hesitant, your love is my mission. Moving at a fast pace, cause I don't wanna miss this chance to show you I am everything that's on your wish list. Cook like you be walking, I'ma eat the burnt rice. I like the way you move and how it wiggle just right. You shining like a star, sheer dress, moonlight. Girl, I give you all the reasons that I'm Mr. Do Right. You didn't have to do wrongs, life past, love lost. I wanna show you I should be your very first call. I should be the one you in the night with taking off your drawers. Girl, I wanna be the one that had you climbing up the walls.
I've been hustling all my life. All I really wanna do is count up. And with you right by my side, we gon' show